A friend of mine asked me a really interesting musical question the other day. He was referencing classical music, and he said, for music that is so imaginative and beautiful, how come the titles are so boring sometimes? He was specifically talking about Chopin's Nocturnes, Opus number 9, the number 2 Nocturne in E-flat major. It's just like a bunch of numbers, and then the music is so just swirly and ethereal and beautiful. So yeah, why is the title just a word or two with a bunch of numbers? It's actually pretty interesting, at least for me. And this isn't meant to be exhaustive, but I'll give you 4 possible reasons for the boring titles. Number 1 is that oftentimes a composer is talking about a form. So if you look at Mozart's Symphony number 40 in G minor, he's telling you that this is a symphony. And a symphony has a form, a structure to it that is somewhat preordained. There's a ton of variation, of course, but there are certain parameters that you know you're going to obey in order to write a symphony, just like Shakespeare, when he wrote a sonnet, knew the rhyme scheme ahead of time. The second reason why the titles are so boring sometimes is that they're cataloging their works. Obviously, again, back to Mozart, Symphony number 40, he's just keeping track. He's listing them. With Chopin, he says Opus 9. Opus means work, so he's saying this is a group of works. There's a bunch of nocturnes in here, but I kind of consider them all the same work. So Opus 9, and then Nocturne number 1, Nocturne number 2, but they're all considered sort of a part of the same work. And by the way, a lot of the times this was not done by the composer at all, but was rather done by a publisher or even somebody after the composer's death. For instance, if you look up a Mozart work, you may see the letter K followed by a number, and that stands for Koschel number. My German pronunciation is terrible. But anyway, that's a guy who went in and organized Mozart's works after his death, so we can kind of keep track of them better. The third reason for the titles is to tell you what key they are in. I feel like these days key matters a little less to us. But back then, key carried a lot of significance, both in the form of the piece, because a lot of the structure, where you were going to go and come back to, had to do with what key you were in. And keys also sometimes symbolize certain things like happiness or sadness or royalty or things like that. And then finally, the most interesting reason why the titles are often so boring is because these are examples in the classical world of what we call abstract music. I have to cut in here really quick and say that I made a mistake in the original video and said abstract when what I meant to say was absolute. Same first 4 letters, huh? So thank you for the commenter IDK for pointing that out. Anytime in the rest of the video, if I say abstract, what I meant to say was absolute. Very similar terms, but the musical term again is absolute music for what I'm looking for here. What that means is the composer very purposefully is not trying to tell you what to think about when you're listening to the music. They are getting out of the way and letting the music do all